Today on Public Research, we talk to a member of one of the most accomplished academic families in the world today.
What they would want is for any descendant of any Arab who ever lived in Israel to be able to come to Israel. And then what would that mean? That would mean that Jews become a minority within Israel, right? And then what will happen to these Jews who are now a minority in Israel? I think we all know. We saw it on October 7th. So basically, this very, fiery human rights rhetoric of, just democracy, just give equal rights. It's just like I played it out in 2-3 steps. You get to a genocide of Jews. That's the end game.
Aryeh Kontorovich, an Israeli professor of computer science at Ben-Gurion University, joins us to discuss AI, the nature of computer science, his remarkable family, the state of the diaspora, and his own journey to Israel. I think all my guests are a lot smarter than me, but with you, I know that I'm talking to someone who's I'm a little dwarf, and there's a giant looking down on me.
We've all been there. We've all, let's say, how does saying go? If you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room, right? Is that how it goes, right? We all strive to. Okay,
you were a professor of computer science at Ben-Gurion University of the Negev.
That's right.
And let me, just for the audience, so they understand the kind of intellect I'm talking to today, let me read some of the titles of past papers. Aryeh Kontorovich, Concentration Inequalities for Dependent Random Variables via the Martingale Method. A finite sample analysis of the naive Bayes classifier. Improved generalization bounds for adversarially robust learning. Advanced analytics for connected car cybersecurity. He's got papers on Markov chains. This is a serious mathematical mind.
Well, I'm very flattered. I should just say that human talent is unfortunately and very unfairly is distributed like a power law. So it's very uneven. It's scandalously uneven. So you'll have just like say in martial arts, I think the black belt system, the way I, in my experience, it's a logarithmic scale. So like a second degree black belt is 10 times better than the first degree black belt, and so on, right? Third degree black belt is 10 times better than the first degree and the second degree black belt, right? That's roughly how it goes. So I imagine that my knowledge and understanding of math, it's probably incomparable to somebody off the street. But in the same way, I've met people who just completely dwarf me and completely humble me. And those people also have others who humble them. It's fractal. It's log scales all the way down.
Well,
so that's just how it works.
That's true. But for me, I got good grades in math, but I'm a little bit scared of it.
Let me offer a word of encouragement to anybody who is intimidated by math, because I was intimidated by math. I majored in math at Princeton, and that was intimidating. That was very intimidating because I learned that some people were smarter than were clearly more talented than me. You could just gauge by how quickly they pick up the material. So let me give a word of encouragement to all the aspiring mathematicians out there who might be intimidated by math. You can get very far with simple tools. It's amazing, and it's uncanny, and it's surprising how far one can get with simple tools if you apply them correctly. That's my word of encouragement for anybody out there who, okay.
Aryeh's resume is impressive on its own, but, I've always loved accomplished families, and I've always been fascinated by them. In America, we have the Fours that are a literary family. There's other families, but the Kontorovich family is remarkable. Aryeh's father, Vladimir, is a professor of economics.
Yes,
His brother...
he's a foremost expert. He's the world's foremost expert on what's called command economies, which is economies that are not free market, but rather, top down, controlled prices. And he is one of the few people who was able to predict correctly the Soviet collapse. And he is one of the experts on how these economies operate.
So there's Vladimir the father, the economist. There is Aryeh, the professor of computer science, expert, I believe, in Markov chains, all this fancy math stuff. His brother Alex is a mathematician.
That's right. Alex is a professor at Rutgers, distinguished professor at Rutgers, and he studies analytic number theory. He is very, very popular on the internet. He does these videos with a website called Veritasium. He does these popular math videos that are popular. They're popularizing advanced math topics for the general audience, and people just eat it up. It's very, very. He's very good at it, and he explains very well. And they're animated in a very professional way. So worth check him out. You'll love the videos. They're very, very entertaining.
And then perhaps the most famous of the Kontorovich brothers is Eugene Kontorovich, who is a professor of, I believe, international law at George Mason.
The ICC has given Hamas its biggest victory in the war so far and rewarded Hamas's tactics. It's been plagued with problems, and it has never successfully prosecuted a leader of an incumbent government. Because it has been criticized for targeting African states, which were the ones who joined the ICC, now it's seeking to appeal to a broader audience and to justify its existence to its donors by going to the lowest common denominator, which is, of course, demonization of Jews.
That's right. He's a world expert in constitutional law and international law, and indeed he's of all the professors. Of all the Kontorovich professors, he's definitely the best known one. He appears on television. He testifies in front of Congress. He meets heads of state. He's up there on the international. He's a serious sort of intellectual player on the international scene.
And at a time that Israel is being brought up before the ICJ and the ICC, he's appeared on global television. He's written in the Wall Street Journal.
He's the go-to guy. He's definitely the go-to guy on these things. Yeah,
so
for sure.
This is a remarkable family, and I think it's fascinating. I honestly, I don't know of any other family with this many professors.
Well, the Bernoullis did well.
Bernoullis? I got
Bernoulli family.
And the Kontorovich family has a very interesting story. Were you born in Ukraine?
No, I was born in Russia.
Okay.
It wasn't Ukraine. It was the Russia that's still Russia. At the time in the Soviet Union, it didn't really matter much because they weren't separate countries, so nobody really cared. Ukraine, Russia, it was all the same thing. In fact, that's why this whole battle over Crimea, right? Crimea ended up being part of Ukraine by fiat. I believe it was Khrushchev who just said, he was assigning sort of things. Right? And he said, it doesn't matter. We'll give it to Ukraine because it doesn't matter. They're all the same. They're all Soviet Unions. It doesn't matter who. And he could never, ever in a million years imagine that Russia and Ukraine was having a bloody war over territory. Right.
And I watched a little bit of Alex, your brother's video, and he has an American accent.
But once you do this once, you can do this again and keep doing this forever, and you get an Apollonian. So this is why Apollonius' name is on this, although this is the only object I call an Apollonian packing. Everything else comes from somewhere else.
Yes.
You have, I would classify as sort of as an Israeli.
It's a mix. It's Russian-Israeli. It's a mix.
Eugene, and I hope I can interview him sometime, but he has one of the most interesting accents I've ever heard. It's not a hybrid. It's like three.
That's right. Eugene spent a lot of his formative years watching the BBC on television. and he attributes his unique accent to that experience.
I gotta tell him that the only person his voice reminds me of is this. He's dead. Was this professor? He was at the Hoover Institution. And he wrote these books like called "The Nazis in Wall Street." His name was Anthony Sutton. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No, I haven't. No.
But he had this accent that was like a mix between German, British, and American. It was totally unique. It was like Eugene's accent.
He had no income. I summed his income for the year he was in New York. It was about $600. Yet he lived in an apartment. He had a chauffeured limousine. He had a refrigerator, which was very rare in those days. He left New York and went to Canada on his way to the revolution.
Totally sort of unique.
Eugene's idiolect has been called in public. It's been called a fake British accent. That's how people have referred to it. Okay,
it's very interesting voice.
So it is what it is. Yeah.
And let me ask, do you have any sisters?
We have a sister. Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Is she a professor?
She's not. Yeah. She's not. I don't think she has any aspirations in academia. She is a very successful marketing person. She has an MBA from Chicago, and she is a very successful I guess industrial marketer for the industry for big.
She's accomplished as well.
Yes,
Sorry to slight her.
No, she's quite successful in what she does. She does it very well. You know, actually, if I may take a bit of credit for her success, when we were little, we would watch television and we would watch commercials, and I would always ask her. Now she is 6 years younger than me, 5 or 6 years younger than me. So I would authoritatively ask her, who does this commercial appeal to? And she would say, oh, it appeals to middle-aged women who go through menopause. Okay. Or, who does this appeal to? Oh, this appeals to young adolescents. So I trained her to spot who each commercial appeals to, and look at what, she's gone to. She's gone on to do great things in advertising. So, or I guess in marketing. So, not advertising, marketing. So there you go.
So, remarkable family. Is your dad like a taskmaster?
No, it's more. So, my mother actually also is a mathematician. She's in financial math, and she has a very successful financial I guess, advising company. Russian Jews tend to be ambitious, tend to be driven, ambitious, at least those who sort of made it out of the Soviet Union. So there's a lot of ambition, a lot of drive, a lot of sort of the motto, the constant motto that I grew up with was, you have to realize your potential. In other words, you're not expected to go beyond anything that the talents that you were endowed with. You're not expected to do impossible things, but you're expected to realize your full potential. You're expected to really achieve everything that you're able to achieve, and that was stressed very firmly and persistently from an early age.
And was there disappointment when Eugene went into the letters direction with law?
No, not at all.
No?
He showed early on. He showed aptitude. He showed much aptitude. I mean, he was writing articles for the Wall Street Journal when in high school. In high school, he published. He published an article in the editorial in the Wall Street Journal as a high school senior. So it was clear that he. Yeah.
So where did you guys grow up?
We grew up in Plainsboro, New Jersey.
Okay.
So went to public high school.
So when did you move to Israel?
So I moved to Israel. So I finished high school in New Jersey. Then I went to college. I went to Princeton, class of 01. I majored in math. And then I went to grad school at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I got my PhD. I got my master's and PhD in 2007. And then I timed my postdoc to coincide with my Aliyah. So I planned my Aliyah very meticulously, and I moved to Israel together. I planned things so that my flight to Israel was both my Aliyah flight and my flight to start at Weizmann. And I spent 2 years in Rehovot at the Weizmann Institute. And then I was very fortunate to get a position at Ben Gurion. Because I say very fortunate because the Israeli academic market is very competitive and very tight, and sort of notoriously challenging. And I've been in Beersheba ever since.
So when did you learn Hebrew as a child?
Yeah, good question. I have a hobby on the side. Sort of linguistics is a bit of a hobby on the side. I would almost say I have a semi-professional interest in linguistics. I have an unpublished paper in computational linguistics. So I studied in high school. I studied Latin, and in college I studied classical Greek. By the way, Latin is much easier than classical Greek. Classical Greek is really a very, very difficult language. And I studied Hebrew as well. Hebrew is actually one of the easier languages. Its grammar is very logical, just like Latin is very logical.
Again, I'm bad at languages. Learning a whole new alphabet is just beyond me.
But it's a fine. I see alphabet. I see an alphabet as a fixed overhead. It's. I mean, you learn it, and it's. I mean, how many letters are there? There's, Hebrew has 23 letters. English has 26 letters, right? It's a one-time investment, and you're done. And then you have it all, right? I mean, language.
But Aryeh, you're gonna solve this problem for me. You know why? Because in 5 years, I'll have a little thing in my ear that will just translate it, and then I can enjoy Israeli television like all
That's
other
not
people.
so far-fetched, actually. Yeah, it's things are moving at a scary pace.
I actually, a little side note: has anybody in Israel thought about that? What that might do for Aliyah? Or
I don't think, honestly, I don't think the language barrier is the main bottleneck. Honestly, I don't imagine that. That's, first of all, with English you can get by in Israel just fine. In fact, there are American expats who live in Israel for decades and barely speak serviceable Hebrew, just barely.
That's what I've been told. I've been there before.
And there are enclaves where you can just almost never encounter Hebrew. Like in Bet Shemesh and Jerusalem, their neighborhoods.
But it is very alienating when you're with a bunch of Israelis and they're all speaking Hebrew and you have no idea.
Absolutely. So those who prioritize, being truly absorbed into the society, truly absorbed and assimilated into society, make the effort. Essentially, look, the trick is very simple. You immerse yourself. Immersion. You just have to be immersed in that environment where you have no choice but to pick up the language, and then you pick it up quickly. I mean, pick it up at a natural pace. You move to a foreign country and you see little kids speaking the foreign language, and you see, the simplest, most non-intellectual, kind of people whose jobs don't involve any sort of any kind of an sensible intellectual challenge. They speak the language well, and so you say, well, if they can do it, I can do it too, right? It's not,
I know people like you. I know I have lots of friends who went to University of Chicago and they can learn the Georgian alphabet over the summer. You guys have special brains, okay? You need to realize that we're not all. I'm waiting for you to put the thing in my ear.
We'll work on it. We'll see what we can do.
But I assume, coming out of Carnegie Mellon, Princeton, you could have gone to Silicon Valley, you probably, as a math major, you could have probably gone to Wall Street and been a quant. You could have made a ton of money, but you went to Israel, so I assume that Israel, Zionism, Judaism was important in your family. Is that the case?
Yeah, yeah. It was important in my family. It was important to me personally. I was the first in my family to make Aliyah, to actually. So I came to Israel alone. And so there's a couple of there's a couple of distinct issues there. So there's the issue of high tech or the financial sector versus the academia. And that issue is orthogonal to Israel or the U.S. because in Israel I could have gone, I could have looked for work in finance or in high tech. Israel has a very blooming high tech industry. So I guess I learned about myself early on that I have a very academic mindset. I like intellectual freedom. I like independence. I like being able to just solve problems sort of at my own leisurely pace and really delve in depth and really get an exhaustive solution. Because in high tech, you're often driven by deadlines and clients, and you don't have to get it perfect. You have to get it, just good enough for, for deliverable for the, whatever you're held to by the contract. Because and that's understandable, because if your goal, if your benchmark is perfection, you'll never get there. You'll never ship the product. So it's understandable why industries have different goals and different standards than academia. But in academia, you can really get a complete and exhaustive solution to a problem, and sometimes just see where it leads you, and sometimes it leads you to other problems that maybe nobody ever thought of, and maybe nobody even can think of how that might be useful today, but maybe some years down the line it will become useful. So it's a different mindset. It's a different. I wouldn't say that academia is in competition with industries. It's just two different worlds entirely. But you have to decide. I tell my students, figure out who you are. Figure out where your heart lies. Where are you the kind of guy who likes to get a practical problem and tackle it and figure out how to make it work, and then go and sell it and make money off it, or you're the kind of guy who wants to just do science basically, understand how the world works, understand how and math is part of the world. So I'm a Platonist when it comes to math, so understanding how math works is part of understanding how the world works. So that's the academia versus industry. And Israel versus the U.S. It also became clear to me at a fairly young age that I was not going to have a future in the U.S. Just for a number of reasons, personality-wise and culturally, and I just never felt American even though I spent 20 years in the U.S. I just never felt that this is my culture and my country. I'm very thankful to the U.S. I'm very thankful to America for taking me in and gave me an education and sort of helping me through that stage. But I'm very glad it was obviously the right decision for me to move on and to come home. And I was a guest in America. I was a guest, and as Jews throughout history can attest, whenever we're in the diaspora, whenever in the galus, right? We're always guests. And sometimes we're guests of a gracious host. Sometimes we're guests who are honored, accepted, even privileged. And sometimes we're guests who are tolerated. Sometimes we're guests who are persecuted, right? So, and that can change quickly. It can change from one to the other, right? These things can change very, very quickly. So I think the golden age. So American Jews had a golden age, definitely, and it's passed. And at this point, it's very clear that it's passed. It's been clear. I mean, it was clear to me much earlier, but these days you have actual long essays, in like Tablet and Mosaic and maybe more mainstream journals, just with the title "The Golden Age of the American Jews is Past."
Actually, by we mentioned it was Franklin Ford of the famous Ford family wrote that piece, I believe, in the Atlantic.
Okay, so yeah.
We're going to get back to Israel in a second, but I have to ask a question. I've been waiting years to ask this. So, I'm math phobic. I've never coded, but I have a supreme arrogance that I could walk into Apple, Adobe, Google, Spotify, and make their products and their software better. And they would do at least 5 suggestions that I had. And I would always tell people these different ideas. And I'd say, isn't this computer science? And they'd say, no, it's all math. Never understood that. So I recorded one of my computer ideas. You can tell me what's a computer science idea. Here it is.
I was kind of a starving bohemian, right?
Okay, so you see how the it doesn't show up in the transcript? I was sort of a starving bohemian writer.
Yes.
What I want is to be able to say, to like highlight this area and say, click on right click and have like detection, increase detection just there and have it in the transcript so I can delete it. Because currently I can't delete the and I have to do it by hand like this, which is annoying.
Wait, you want
I want increased detection.
So you want to delete the from the text or from the audio?
Oh, okay. So I should explain this in Adobe Premiere. They do it. It's called like transcript editing. So you can just highlight a word in the transcript and click delete, and it'll get rid of it. But it's sometimes it doesn't get these like.
I see.
And,
so you want the in the text.
I want I want to be able to highlight and say I want increased detection here. So you can put the in the transcript so I can cut it easily in the transcript and not have to do it by hand.
So it's a good right. So I believe that your question is one of not computer science, not of math, but just one of user interface, because I believe that the math and the computer science have already been solved. In other words, I think the technology to do this exists.
So that right there, that was a UX idea, or was it a computer science idea?
Oh, I think that that the suggestion to leave the us in the text, the suggestion is I would classify it as a user interface suggestion.
Okay.
Because now the technology to recognize, the technology to transcribe audio into text, that's a very mathematical problem. Certainly, there's a lot of math. There's certainly a lot of math behind that.
Okay.
But I think that those problems have been solved to the degree that I think your suggestion doesn't require any novel math problem to solve.
Okay.
It's just a matter of a setting. I think it's just a matter of some user interface setting where they're probably doing is they're probably already detecting the us and automatically deciding to suppress them from the transcript.
No, they have the us, but sometimes they miss them. So the idea was like you tell the computer increase search for the us.
Yeah. But there's probably a threshold.
Here's another one. I want to see, is this a computer science idea? So this is in Logic Pro. So I'm playing this bass, but let's say I want it to sound more like this bass. I should be able to take an isolated bass track and upload it into this Dance Queen, and then have Dance Queen adjust to sort of clone in a way the bass I uploaded to it. Is that a computer science idea?
I think that's also a matter of user interface. In other words, in the sense that in what sense? I don't think this requires solving novel engineering problems or novel, mathematical problems. I think it's a matter of taking existing technology and just configuring it in a way to give you what you want. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I'm sorry if this is a dumb question, but
No.
I've always been curious about this. So
no, it's legitimate. Yeah.
So these are all just UX ideas, basically.
I believe so. I believe.
Okay.
I don't think they require novel. I could be missing. I mean, the those details. So sometimes you start trying to get it to work, and you realize that you're missing some piece of technology. But from what it sounds like, one can achieve what you want without having to solve novel engineering problems or novel mathematical problems.
I don't think they've done the instrument thing where you can like upload a isolated bass to a bass sound and have the clone sort of latch. Maybe they have.
But
so if it hadn't been
there.
Okay.
The technology
really?
is there. The ability is there. So I don't know why they didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure the ability is there.
Okay.
I don't see any reason. I don't see any technological barrier to why they couldn't. What's stopping them from doing it?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if that's a dumb question, but
it's
for a layman, I've always been curious about. So what is this? So all these people that work at Twitter, that are software engineers, they're just doing math all. I know these are very dumb questions, but they're just doing math.
It's a good question. It's a great question. So, so I've never worked at a company like Twitter, so I can only speculate. Everything I'll say is speculation. So, first of all, famously, Elon Musk, when he took over, he fired 80% of all engineers.
Right.
So apparently, a lot of them weren't doing that much useful because Twitter still functions, and arguably not worse than previously. So you have to separate, a service like Twitter. There is the user interface, right? There's the features, the like, is the like hidden or is the like visible, and the appearance of the feed, and the arrangement, the layout of the buttons, all that's, it's important. The user experience is important. But of course, the most important part of Twitter is, what is the heart of Twitter? What is the heart? What is the Twitter magic? It's the curation. It's deciding what to show in each user's feed, right? There are millions and probably billions of users of Twitter, and it has to present to each user his unique feed, right? Each user must be shown the unique, and you have two feeds. You have a following feed and a for you feed, right? You have two feeds, right? Now, if you follow 1,000 people or 10,000 people, right, you're not going to see every single one of all of their tweets. So even if it's just the people you follow, it has to decide among those which tweets will be most interesting for you. Now, if it's the for you feed, then it'll even show you tweets of people you don't follow, right? So it has to make a lot of decisions, a lot of out of how many tweets, how many things are tweeted each day or each week, because sometimes what you see today was actually tweeted 2 days ago, right? Not all the tweets you see are recent. Some of them are from a little bit ago, right?
So I'm more of a humanities. I'm an artistic sort of person, but I have ideas. I think the detection is a good computer idea. But you can just be blunt with me. I don't know calculus. Because I don't know calculus, I can't be a computer scientist at Twitter. Basically, like, if you're not good at math, there's no role, right?
So I think the part that the people who work with the user interface and who I guess they test. I mean, they bring in users. They have to work with people. They have to figure out what works for users and what doesn't work for users. I think that part isn't that math heavy. The part where you have to do the feed, so figure out what to show each user, right? It's just think of the immense scope of the problem, right? There are billions of users and billions of tweets all the time, and you have to figure out in real time what to show to whom, because every user has a different experience, right? We don't all see the same thing. And that's a very challenging mathematical problem. So for that, you do need very serious mathematical skills for that part.
So I wrote a ton of questions I wanted to cover, Israel and the state of computer science.
Sure.
And I had an interesting experience today. I had over 100 questions that I'd been writing over for about a week. So I heard that Perplexity AI had a thing that could read a PDF and could answer questions. So I put them on a PDF. I put it in Perplexity AI, and I said, I want you to put these in order, different categories. So put all the Israel questions together, put all the computer. And I said at the end, I said, put all of the questions in. Don't leave anything out. Okay, do you got it? I literally said, okay, do you got it? It said, yeah. And it looked like it had done it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I was double checking. I was like, I don't see that one. And so I double checked, and it had lied to me. It didn't put in all the things. And I said, you lied to me. He's like, you're right. And it's something that I've encountered with these LLMs. And so I've had this before with them where they'll lie to me. And that's the problem, is I couldn't trust it. So eventually I was just like, I'm just gonna have to do it myself. And so that's the
right. Yeah. So I, when these first came out, and I played around with a paid version of ChatGPT 4 for about a month. I actually subscribed to the paid version and sort of probed it fairly thoroughly. So I would give it basic math problems, like problems of the type: if you have socks in a drawer of, say, two colors, black and white socks, and the room is dark, so you can't see the colors, but you want to reach into the drawer and pull out some number of socks to ensure that you definitely have at least two socks of the same color. Then what's the minimal number of socks that you must pull out, right? So the answer is 3. If you pull out 3 socks and they're all either black or white, then certainly they can't all be different colors. They must have, right? You only have 2 colors. You have 3 socks. So you'll certainly have at least 2 of them be the same color. So I think you got that right. But when I generalized it to more colors and more socks, I think it got it wrong badly. And even it got it wrong, you sort of argue with it and you explain to it why it's wrong, and it agrees with you. And they make a false statement and it agrees with that too. It was clear that, that there's no understanding there. It was clear that this is text manipulation, fluent and convincing and confident, but completely lacking any sort of model of the world, semantics in a meaningful sense, understanding of what's happening, of why, any person who truly understands the 2-color 3 sock setup will also tell you, what the right answer is for 3 colors or for 5 colors, right? And this thing was not doing that. So it was clear to me that it's and I don't know, did you have a chance to listen to the interview with Adam?
I not fully. I'm a little math phobic.
So there was no math there. There was absolutely no math there.
But I listened to parts of it. Yeah.
There was a lot of talk there about it was fresh. This GPT thing was fresh. There was a lot of interest in it, a lot of buzz around it. So we sort of delved into it in some detail.
I heard some of that, yeah.
And I described some very specific examples, interactions. They even tweeted. They even have Twitter threads where I give entire scripts, entire screenshots of conversations. So I don't know if you want to ask. I mean, I have a lot to say. It's basically saying the same thing that I
no,
said,
I
so.
think it. Yeah, no, I think this is very interesting. So I've had mixed experience. I tend to use Bard, and now they've changed the name to Gemini, which is so stupid because Bard is so easy to type. You know,
Do you know why? You know why I did that?
I don't know. Maybe
Bard,
I would assume the market research people said that Bard sounded too much more like it's a writing tool, maybe.
right.
Uh,
So Bard just the language, and Gemini also the image generation, maybe.
it's the same thing. They just changed the name
I see.
from.
I see. Okay.
So I found it to be excellent at tech tips, like 100 times better than Google.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I have any question, like, oh, I have a MIDI keyboard and what does this button mean? It will get it. It's so good at that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
already, I think already GPT-4 was doing that very well. People were reporting, yeah.
And then I had a very interesting experience. I'm not sure if it still does this, but early on in its life, I said, I want you to list documentaries about writers. Just give me the titles. And it gave me like 5, and I said more. It gave me more. And I looked up these documentaries, and one was called The Writer, and said it was 2011, and it was about Harold Pinter, the playwright. And so I looked it up. It's like, this is so weird. I can't find anything about it. And nobody gave me the director, Damien Lowe. And I was like, oh, this is a real director. And then I realized it had made it up, but it had used a real director, and it was plausible sounding.
Yeah.
That was a freaky.
This must be the phenomenon of hallucination, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's a famous case where a lawyer, you know about this?
I think maybe tell me.
Apparently a lawyer used GPT to write some legal document, and he relied on some case law that was, allegedly there was a case they cited, case decision here, whatever, and it was all fake. It was all that. I mean, that caused real trouble. I think the guy, there were real repercussions for that. There was whatever. There was some important case. Real things were at stake.
Well, the lawyers are smart. They saw a competitor real fast. They shut it down. That was funny. It was the lawyers went in there and they said, it can't stop, shut it down. We don't want.
Well, the question is, the question always is who's liable, right? If it gives you legal advice, right, and you follow it and end up harmed, right? Who's liable? And also lawyers being who they are, they'll of course, under the guise of this is going to cause harm. Of course, they're going to shut down competition. That's.
Are we at a important crux point in tech? Is it overhyped, or is something really special going on right now as far as the AI and stuff?
Yeah, good question. So I'm not. I wouldn't say I have any sort of a unique perspective about this, because I don't actually work. I don't actually work at the most sort of cutting edge applied, types of AI that world changing types of AI. I'm more of a basic science, probability, statistics kind of guy. But I'd say I have sufficient general knowledge, just general sort of first principles knowledge to say that yes, we're at a in an era of rapid advances of AI, rapid change. Technology is advancing quickly. Technology is advancing so rapidly that the experts in the field, the people who actually move the field, they themselves can't confidently say what will happen in a decade. So, when the leading the leading scientists, the leading engineers, the leading discoverers of this technology themselves. You ask them themselves, and they themselves don't know what it'll look like in 10 years. That's a sign that things are moving very quickly. It's a sign that it's very fast paced. Yes, the answer is yes. We're moving at a very fast pace.
I had a wow moment. I was using Midjourney, and I said, I want a plague doctor giving a speech in Florence in 1555 as a tapestry, and I put it in, and it did it. It was so real looking. I sent it to people. They thought it was an authentic tapestry.
Yeah.
I'd say lithograph, 1776. Yeah. And it was a wow moment for me. Also, having ChatGPT write, I said, okay, I'm making a wilderness documentary about Wyoming. Do an intro narration, mention the first person who went there, a poem about Wyoming, and mention this mountain. And it wrote a pretty solid thing. And that was a wow moment. Was there a wow moment for you?
Yeah. So when I first started to play with ChatGPT, this was last year, and I tweeted about these. So I can try to find those tweets. So the first time I told it a joke and asked it to explain to me the joke, and it just gave this uncanny, dead right explanation, a subtle, picked up on all the subtle sort of hints. That I was, blown away. Just chatting with the ChatGPT. It's a bit of an eerie experience because there are definitely moments when you feel like you're chatting with a sentient being. There are moments when it just feels like there's a person there. Now, if you're knowledgeable and you know where to poke, you'll quickly find, holes and gaps, and you can quickly get it to break down and quickly, disabuse you of any illusion that it's sentient. But if you're just casually sort of without, probing too hard, it can truly feel real. And that was unexpected. That's something that I didn't expect, because I would have expected. So to me, the big surprise actually was that it's possible to carry on a fluent conversation and to give the appearance of intelligence without true understanding. In other words, if you had shown me, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, if you had shown me these conversation logs with ChatGPT, I would say whoever is generating these responses has achieved true intelligence, true full intelligence, and it's clearly not the case. We're clearly not fully there yet. So it's clearly it's possible to BS your way out of true intelligence with these language models that are they capture the surface phenomena of language very well, and there's not always a substance behind it, but sometimes there is. So that was a long-winded answer to your question.
Let me show you something.
As the October 7th attacks played out in southern Israel, government ministers found Netanyahu offline and out of reach by phone, holed up at his South Tel Aviv Jam House on a 3-day recording retreat for the Hebrew EDM concept album that the Prime Minister has been working on for more than 7 years. Netanyahu speculated to advisors in the days after the 7th that he believed Iranian intelligence had seen how, quote, in the zone he was in his latest demos, and decided to launch the attack to ruin his artistic progress in the studio, a claim the Mossad was unable to back up.
Or another one. This you might find this one a little bit funnier. You know Norm Finkelstein, I'm sure.
I've said it for 20 years, and I say it to this very day to my students. Urkel is actually a Marxist. The signs in the show are very clear. There are simply too many coincidences. The red beret, the red scarf? Why does Urkel demand his room be painted red? Why does Urkel refuse to attend school on May Day? Yes, I know, it's too hard for many to admit that. Yes, there was Marxist artistic genius at work in the 1990s, and his name was Stevie Urkel, an artist of incredible humanity.
No, that one wasn't even good. This is 11 Labs technology. I took a NPR show, and I took the host, and you could not tell it was not real. And I realized right away I could upload her voice onto YouTube and just say, "Oh, this was a show from 2007," and people would just believe it. In 5 years, do you think the bylaws of entering audio evidence into trials will be the same as today?
So I think there are ways to, there are cryptographic solutions to these. The problem that you're referring to is called deep fakes, right? Using AI to generate very convincing but fake video and audio, right? So there are ways to try to mitigate that, and there are ways that involve cryptography. So, for example, if I am a reputable news organization, say I am the Wall Street Journal, right? When I put out a piece of audio, an audio segment or a video segment, I can cryptographically sign it. I can put it. There's a technology already. It exists to put a digital stamp on it, a signature that says this is Wall Street Journal generated material. Now, this doesn't guarantee. Now, let's be very clear. Let's be very careful about what this does and does not guarantee. This does not guarantee that the video wasn't fake. It only guarantees that the Wall Street Journal stands behind it. So it means that the video might be fake, but if it's fake, then the Wall Street Journal takes full responsibility for it being fake, right? Because it's putting its reputation behind it, right? So if you get a video with the Wall Street Journal stamp on it, what you can conclude is that they give it their authentication, right? So if it's fake, then maybe they're faking it, or maybe they got duped. But because you trust the Wall Street Journal, you can sort of have some faith, some assurance that the video is reliable, as opposed to some unauthenticated video on the internet. Could come from anywhere, could be fake. You could just disregard it. So that.
Are you surprised we haven't seen any stock fraud? I was thinking, you take the CEO of McDonald's, say, you fake an audio of him saying the N-word, you short the stock, there's a scandal, the stock goes down, there's a protest. We haven't seen that yet, but do you think that it's only a matter of time before we have something like that, and there's going to be laws?
You have to be a little bit careful. Suppose let's be very concrete about how that would go down, right? So somebody wants to ruin somebody's reputation. Somebody wants to ruin the reputation of the CEO of McDonald's, right? That's the scenario, right? So they produce a deep fake of him saying something bad, right? Now they have to, how do you get that out? If I want to ruin your reputation and I produce a video of you saying something bad, then if I just post it, then you sue me, right? Right? You take me to court for libel or whatever, or slander. So I wouldn't do that. So I would give it to somebody else, and then they have to post it, and then they get to, right. So there's this question. There's this problem of laundering. How do I launder these? And if I just post it on like 4chan or one of these anonymous sites, well, it's 4chan. So there's that bit of issue of the source of these. Right? You have to, whenever you see a scandalous video, you have to ask, okay, what's the provenance? Where did it come from? What's the origin? Right? Who recorded it?
Let me phrase it better. Is this technology, even if they do pass laws about deepfake, will it be able to be controlled?
Well, like I said, controlled how, right? So anybody can produce anybody can produce a deepfake of anybody else. That's out there. So what we, the users, the question comes back to us, the users. We, the viewers, have to get used to not trusting anything that's not authenticated with a digital signature.
So this AI explosion, the good side is maybe in 7 years you'll be able to just tell your computer, I want to watch Goodfellas, but I want it to be an all-female cast based in 1920s LA, and they all have red hair. And it will create that movie, maybe.
I imagine,
on the other hand, you might have a sicko who can wear a headset and control some humanoid robot and become a serial killer by operating it from a basement 10 miles away. When you look at this emerging future, are you filled with more trepidation or excitement?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think we have more immediate things to worry about, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, the scenarios you describe are disturbing, and certainly this new technology is powerful and could be badly misused if it fell into the wrong hands. And certainly AI. Look, I mean, you don't have to be very far-fetched, right? You can already use AI. You can already use current technology to scan all of your emails, right? I can, go through all of your emails and figure out, how you lean politically, how you vote, how you, I can just create a brief dossier on you with all the, compromising material and sensitive material and just everything on you. And that's something that wasn't feasible a few years ago, but now is. It can be automated. You can just say, go scan everything there is about this person online and, his email, his social media, just scan everything there is to know about him and prepare a dossier for me that just details everything about this person. That technology already is here. There's no need to wait 5-7 years. And that can be misused by authoritarian governments, corporations, right? That can already be a very oppressive technology. And that's, not far-fetched. It's here. It's just a question of who's allowed to use it and how people are allowed to use it. Technology creates problems. Technology also creates solutions. So I'm not that worried about technology being dystopian because I think it's a double-edged sword. It's a tool. It's like a gun or a hammer, right? It can be used for violence. It can also be used for protection, for construction. So I'm confident that technology will. I mean, it's always the cat and mouse game, right? It's always, for every lock there's a pick, but for every pick there's a bigger lock that you can't pick. So it's a cat and mouse. I think these, like the hacking software, right? You have these. They find these backdoors in systems, and then you have to patch them. And then they find more backdoors, right? So this never-ending cat and mouse game of technology being developed, being used for productive ends, being used for destructive ends, new technology being developed to try to defend against the destructive ends. So that's just that cycle has always been, as long as humanity has been developing technology, it's always been used for good and evil, and you have this arms race of who has the better technology. So that's something that's not so novel, actually. I think what's worrying is that I'm going to sound maybe a little paranoid or over the top melodramatic, but I'm worried about the state of Western civilization. I'm worried about the Western civilization's ability to and desire to thrive and to perpetuate itself, because Europe. I mean, look at Europe. Look at what Europe is doing to itself. It's willingly making itself extinct in a sense, because look at England, look at France, right? These are countries that are voluntarily giving up their identity and voluntarily inviting large groups of people who are hostile to the idea of a French France or British England, right? And if that if those trends continue, and they might not, they might stop. There's some signs that Europe is maybe waking up, but these trends are very worrisome because, of course, you have Iran and North Korea and Pakistan. You have these very, very large state actors that are very interested in disruption of the Western way of life and in causing a lot of damage, and a lot of them are not deterred by losses on their side.
Yeah, we have to talk about Lebanon and Iran because I'm honestly scared for you.
Yeah. Well, you should be scared for everybody. You should be scared for everybody. It's not, believe me, any problem that's Israel's problem is also the West's problem.
But Iran doesn't have a countdown clock for when they're going to wipe out Chicago, thankfully. But they do have one for Israel, and I am very worried. Well, before we get to Iran, you talked about the West, and I want to play a clip I played for a lot of my guests to show you what is going on in America and the sort of the anti-Israel movement. People will call it pro-Palestine. I think it's more anti-Israel. It's almost taking on the character of a secular religion. And I have a clip that will give you a sense of what the religion is like. And I want you to respond. This is from a show called Left Reckoning. These two guys are, they're not Jewish, they're not Arab, they're not Muslim. This guy's name is David Griscom.
So you accept it. Now, in all of this fucking window dressing, well, I don't like the right wing in Israel. I would like it if the left came back to power in Israel. The left doesn't exist in Israel because Israel is a settler colonial state that is obsessively pursuing a goal of eradicating Palestinians, and denying them human rights within Israel, and then denying them the very right to life in Gaza and in the West Bank. That is what the reality of the Israeli government is, because it can never do what needs to be done, which is to pursue a one-state solution with equal rights for people regardless of their ethnicity or religion. Wow, what a fucking liberal concept, by the way. A democracy where people have equal rights and equal vote. That should be the kind of shit that liberals like fucking Pac-Man are able to uphold. But no, we're going to make an exception for this ethno-state, and we're going to cry and whine about the consequences of our support for that. Give me a fucking break. You either take the position that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish exclusive state, as an ethno-state for a certain group of people, right? You say, I believe in that. That means that you have to support, because if you say you're for one group of people having political representation, having access to land, having all those kind of things, you need to exclude the others. This is the natural end to that fucking project. And it has been that way our entire life.
Oh,
or
yeah, our parents.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Or you take the position that we should be pursuing a humane solution.
So, first of all, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this kind of trope. And I mean, you can sort of, this reasoning that they first of all, Israeli Arabs vote. So they're kind of conflating, I guess, the Palestinians in Judea and Samaria, maybe the Palestinians in Gaza with the Arab citizens of Israel who have all the rights of citizens. They vote, they serve as police officers, they serve as judges, they doctors, professors, they do everything that any citizen will do. So that part is just dishonest, because I don't know what that was about. But the idea of, I guess, maybe they want, the right of return, the law in Israel that guarantees the right of return to Jews is indeed an ethnicity-based law, because it's for, the right of return applies to Jews only. And I guess maybe what they would want is for any descendant of any Arab who ever lived in Israel to be able to come to Israel. That's probably what they would advocate for. And then what would that mean? That would mean that Jews become a minority within Israel, right? And then what would happen to these Jews who are now a minority in Israel? I think we all know. We saw it on October 7th. So basically, this very fiery human rights rhetoric of, just democracy, just give equal rights. It's very, just like I played it out in 2-3 steps. You get to a genocide of Jews. That's the end game, right? So, and then when you confront them with that, you'll get one of two responses. One response will be, "Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. You deserve it. Don't be a colonial settler. You deserve to be murdered and raped and burned alive." Or the other response is, "Oh no, that won't happen. Somehow things will work out. You'll all live in peace," which is nonsense, right? So that's the level of discourse. I'm very very familiar with this discourse. I actually, some Israelis feel this way. There's a fringe. I mean, they're French, but there are Israelis who also feel this way on the Israeli left, which is, I would say, doesn't exist. It's definitely become more marginalized in light of recent events. But this is a sort of universalist view that sort of says these are the principles. You have to you have to pretend. You have to pretend that the cities don't exist. You have to pretend that we're all the same, and whatever consequences that carries. If you act on those principles, and it happens that Jews become a minority, get wiped out. Well, that's too bad. I mean, it's they'll probably pay some lip service to saying, "Oh, that's a tragedy. That shouldn't happen," but it did. Oh well, too bad. Well, I have no patience for that. There's no real dialogue with that. There's no convincing those people. So you just have to hope that we stay strong enough to defeat our enemies. That's really all we can bank on.
If you could speak to Max Blumenthal, the Jewish anti-Zionist, Aaron Mate, Katie Halper, if you could have a minute to say something to them, what would you say?
No, I don't have anything to say to them. They're gone. There's no reaching them. I have no interest in reaching them. I think it's probably mutual. They probably have no interest in reaching me. They're enemies. They're clearly they support our enemies. They want our destruction. Why should I speak to them? I'd rather take up. I'd rather me pick up a rifle, that pick up a rifle, and we'll just stand on the opposite side of the.
Let me phrase it differently. Let's make it more sympathetic. Let's say it's an 18-year-old young Jew who just got to Berkeley, and he thinks, there's anti-Semitism increasing because of Israel. And if only there was no Zionism, there would be less. Now, what would a world without Israel? Would that?
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen a world. We've seen. You don't need to ask the question because we know the answer. We've seen a world without Israel for 2,000 years. Jews in the diaspora. We have records of what happened to Jews in Iraq and in Spain and in Italy and in Russia, Ukraine, Hungary, Poland, Romania. Right? You don't have to imagine because it's well documented. So this comes from a place of either ignorance, either supreme ignorance in the case of the 18-year-old, or just siding with the enemy in the case of Mate and whatever Blumenthal.
Are American Jews the spoiled brats of the Jewish diaspora because of they have pretty large numbers compared to? I've noticed anti-Zionism is not as big among the young French Jews and British Jews because I think they have such small numbers. Do you think so?
I would say that American Jews are facing they're at a crossroads, and they have basically two ways to go. They can either become Orthodox and move to Israel, do one of those, one or both of those, and then they maybe have a shot at continuity, or they'll assimilate. The non-Orthodox Jews are very rapidly assimilating, and then essentially it's a transient phenomenon. It's sort of it's not an issue because in a couple of generations they'll have the most tenuous connection to Judaism imaginable. This experiment with reform and the conservative and secular branches this experiment clearly shows that it's not sustainable. It's not a persistent phenomenon. It's a transient phenomenon. So it'll be a footnote in the history of Jews. We'll read books about Jews 100 years from now. We'll see footnotes. As, there was this brief attempt at secular Judaism. It didn't work. They didn't stick around. Like all the ones behind.
But you don't have contempt for for Herzl or Ben Gurion, do you?
Not contempt. No. First of all, they were much earlier on in the experiment. They had less data to go on, so they maybe had more plausible reasons to think that it might succeed. And also they helped, found the state in his capacity. And I think the secular Jews of that era were actually a lot more in tune with the tradition than secular Jews of today's era. So, for example, Israel's secular Jews, even the most strident atheist in Israel, is probably more knowledge of Jewish holidays, Jewish tradition, than the average conservative shul attending Jew in the U.S.
So let me ask you a harder question. This is actually from that show Left Reckoning. One of those guys is the producer for this next show. This was in the news this week. Moshe Feiglin's grandson died in Gaza tragically, and he was on TV.
When this happened? What?
Last week.
This?
Last week, I think.
A
few days ago. But among the Israel haters on the left, he made headlines.
There's a former member of the Israeli Knesset named Moshe Feiglin. He is on Israeli TV. I mean, can you imagine?
That's Sam Cedar. He's Jewish. That's Emma Vigeland, not Jewish.
If anybody said anything remotely like this on American television about Israelis, I mean, can you imagine if someone were to cite Hitler and Hitler's plan for the Jews, Adolf Hitler, and cite his plans for the Jews as to how any other party should deal with any other people in the world, never mind Jews in Israel. But apparently, on Israeli television, it's okay to cite Hitler and Hitler's plans as long as you're talking about Palestinians. I will, this is in Hebrew, I will read the subtitles. We are not guests in our land. This whole land is ours. And now we had to get along with somehow because he also lived here. And we have to be humane, of course. He showed that he represents the deepest Islamo-Nazism. All right, pause it for 1 second. Just want to make it clear. When he says the whole land is ours, that's another way of saying from the river to the sea, the whole land is ours.
Oh, well, that must be a completely fringe position. Just kidding. Netanyahu, before October 7th, went to the United Nations and presented a map of Israel from the river to the sea.
It's part of the Likud Charter. We love to talk about charters. He showed that he represents the deepest Islamo-Nazism. As we don't understand, as it is clear to us that we can't live. How did Hitler, may his, go back. Sorry. Pause it. How did Hitler say, may his name be erased? How did Hitler, may his name be erased? And of course, one of the ways to erase Hitler's name is to not invoke him with your plans
positively
for the Palestinians. How did Hitler, may his name be erased, once say, I can't live in this world if there's one Jew left in it. We will not be able to live in this land if one such Islamo-Nazi is left in Gaza. And not before we return to Gaza and turn it into Hebrew Gaza. And then they ask him, stop, go back. Do you want to turn it into Hebrew Gaza? Now, let's be clear.
So,
unless you think
my point is, you guys gotta police these statements. There's a damage that's done with this, do you think?
I hear that, and certainly, one's language should be chosen judiciously. Certainly, one should, especially if you're a politician, especially if you're a high-profile politician, you have to be very careful what you say all the time. That said, they don't. I have very little patience for this. Line that they hate us because of something legitimate we do. They hate us because of Ben Gvir. They don't hate us because of Ben Gvir, because of Feigin. They'll always have reason to hate us. They hated the Jew in the shtetl because he was too insular. They hated the Jew in the city because he was too assimilated. He was too uppity and in their face, we shouldn't say stupid things because we shouldn't say stupid things. That's just that's enough reason not to say stupid things. Not because it'll make the goyim angry, because we shouldn't police our actions based on what the goyim will think. I think that's a recipe for disaster ultimately, because ultimately our survival isn't we need to take actions at times that make people angry, and they're necessary for our survival. And if we keep looking over our shoulder
I agree on actions with Iran, with Hezbollah. That's a different thing. I'm saying on the PR front, though. I mean, it is important, right?
Well, Israel is a very free country, very open country. We had a professor at the Hebrew University, an Arab woman professor. I'm in academia, so I see these discussions in the mailing lists. This professor, I believe she expressed a skepticism that maybe rape didn't take place on October 7th, or she expressed some vile sentiment about the October 7th attack, and she wasn't fired. She wasn't, I believe she was suspended from teaching with pay. So she actually got a prize out of it. Politicians will say whatever they want to say. They're free to express themselves just as any citizen is free to express himself. Would I personally have invoked Hitler? I probably would not. Moshe Feiglin, I mean, he's a man who's deeply in grief over the loss of his grandson. It's tragic, so I think we should make an allowance for that. And if you look at the content of it, if you for 1 second, sort of ignore the Hitler and look at the content of what he said, I mean, his sentiment wasn't all that unreasonable. It was a fairly mainstream sentiment that that we cannot live alongside with Hamas. We cannot live alongside with the people who perpetrated October 7th. That's a perfectly legitimate sentiment.
The world knows the two-state narrative. And the thing I wonder about is, and I assume you've sort of given up on that, I think only 20% of Israelis believe in it, right? So let's say you're the Prime Minister of Israel, you're on Meet the Press, and they say, okay, no two-state solution. So what's your plan with the Palestinians? What's your answer?
Yeah, so good. So I think, let me reframe the question. So this whole discussion, this whole discourse on solution, right? Two-state solution, one-state solution. This whole discourse is premised on the assumption that there is a solution. And sometimes there isn't one. Sometimes you just, there's no good way out of this. There's no feasible way out of this. And sometimes you just, you say, I don't have a solution, but I can maintain the status quo and, look for ways to improve it incrementally. And, the status quo is preferable. I mean, it's not good, but it's preferable to, I mean, the situation with Gaza was our attempt at a two-state solution, right? We withdrew from Gaza with the intent of leaving them alone and letting them develop into an independent state. That was our intent. We had no business in Gaza. We left Gaza. We forcibly dragged Jews from their homes out of Gaza. Right? Jews were living in Gaza in their homes, and they were legally living in Gaza in their legally owned homes. And we came with our army and we dragged them out of their homes forcefully, out of their to make Gaza Judenreich, to make Gaza free of Jews. Right, every last Jew was dragged out of Gaza. Right, we did that. Why? So that Gaza could become its own state. Right, and we saw what happened. So there's good reason to be very skeptical of the two-state solution. There's every reason to, I think, it's not a solution, but in the near future, there's no alternative to a military occupation, just like we're militarily occupying Judea and Samaria and patrolling it and constantly, making raids on terrorist strongholds and constantly arresting terrorists and intercepting shipments of weapons. We have to do the same thing in Gaza. We have to occupy Gaza and reoccupy. We were occupied in the past. We have to occupy it. We have to militarily patrol it. We have to control it. We're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be fun for anybody. But there's no, we tried the alternative and that didn't work. That failed very badly. And it's not a solution. It's not a solution. Right?
Why did it take 15 years for Israel and 3 wars to realize you have to cut off the Rafah tunnels so that Hamas cannot resupply its rockets?
Because this, going into Gaza is an insanely difficult, dangerous, expensive affair that nobody would just, initiate on their own, right? We were, people.
But there were 3 wars. There were 2 wars, right?
My relatives in the Negev, in the kibbutzim near Gaza, could hear the drilling underneath of the tunnels, right? You sleep at night. Imagine you're sleeping in your bed. You can hear at night when it's quiet, you can hear them drilling underneath you, the tunnels, right? What's going through your mind? What are you thinking when they're drilling, right? We all knew this. We all knew about the tunnels. We all knew about their plans to invade through, we thought it would be through the tunnels, but they came through the air and over the fence. We knew about their plans. So why did we preemptively invade? Because...
No. Why? The 2 previous wars?
Yeah, because it would be it would involve a ground invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, that's something you only do. That's something you only do to really force it. So you don't just do it.
You think Israel has to have a presence on that Rafah crossing now?
Yeah, I think we have to be. I think we have to patrol. We have to have full control of Gaza, full military control of Gaza.
But if you cut off the weapons and the rocket supply, and you, let's say, hypothetically castrate Hamas, Hamas without rockets is like Megadeth without amps.
Well,
why do you care if they handle garbage collection?
Because I want to control their education. I want to control their. I really want to, just like we denazified Germany and Japan, I want to really have a tight control over all aspects of their lives. I think their bid for independence, didn't go well. They didn't prove themselves to be capable of self-governance, and now they need to be, carefully supervised in the near future.
Last thing, because I'm worried for you. How worried are you about what's going on with Hezbollah? Do you think that there's going to be an escalation?
Yeah, of course. There's going to be a war. There's going to be a full-scale war. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. There's no. That's where things are headed, and I'm very worried. It's not going to be pretty at all. It's going to be very nasty.
Yeah. I just my heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
And can you stay safe as well, please?